The run-up to the longest days of June have marked an early summer festival in South Haven, Michigan for 10 years. It's an event that has grown over time to include music, motorsports, and a melding of car culture, drifting, time attack, and wheel-to-wheel racing. Year after year, tens of thousands pack into the confines of GingerMan Raceway. This is our Daytona, this is our Indianapolis, and this is our Coliseum. And now Gridlife and its annual Midwest Festival celebrate 10 years, a decade, in front of a sold-out crowd. It may not be the world center of racing or have a special starting line made of bricks a century old, but it is special to us and to everyone here. Welcome to South Haven, Michigan. Welcome to GingerMan Raceway, and welcome to Gridlife Midwest Festival, the 10th iteration in 2023. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Cerise from FCP Euro. Cerise, welcome aboard. This is a special, special event, and it all starts now.
It is. I am so happy to be here. I'm honored to be here on behalf of FCP Euro. I'm honored to be here on behalf of the community, and we're just going to go out there and have a great time today. It's all about the good vibes and the driving and just the overall nature of the sport. So
we're going to kick things off here with Gridlife Touring Cup qualifying here. In just a couple of minutes, cars will go on track. 54 cars deep. There they go, rolling on the racetrack. But before we get rolling, the coverage of Gridlife Midwest is powered by Hyundai N. Hyundai N, never just drive. And Falcon, the official tire of Gridlife Track Battle. Onto the racetrack now, 54 competitors. This is one of our largest fields all season, Cerise. This is our Power to Weight single-class road racing series. This is our third round of the season, fourth round of the season when you include Circuit of the Americas. Coming fresh off a very wet weekend at Watkins Glen. We're all just happy it's dry this weekend.
Yeah, no, these drivers are definitely broken in. The season has been off to a phenomenal start. One of my favorite things is going out there, and you guys are accustomed to seeing me in the pits. I'm out with the drivers. Like, getting to know these men and women has been such a pleasure. So having this perspective now, I mean, I'm just stoked to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here with me here. And unfortunately, no Greg Kramer here this weekend. He's off doing other things this time. We'll have him back at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. But so happy to have you with us. You'll be playing double duty on pit lane as well.
I will be, yeah. So I'm going to be a little active today. I'm going to get my steps in. I already closed out one or two of my rings on my Apple Watch. But, yeah, I'm going to be out here and catch you guys at the finish line.
All right, so of the 54 cars that we've got here this weekend, there's a couple notable ones that we should document before we get into it. Of course, we've got our points leader, Jeremy Swenson. He's here. James Houghton won a couple races at Watkins Glen. There he is on track. One of the newcomers, though, Sean Krebsbach in a 2006 Mitsubishi Lancer, car number 21. It's one of, I think, the first really competitive all-wheel drive builds here in this series. A lot of cars, rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. It's rare to see all-wheel drive, and this car was fourth in practice this morning. So that's going to bring a new dynamic into this mix, a car that is new to the series, a driver that's new to wheel-to-wheel racing, and a drivetrain that we don't typically see up front.
And to have such a sentimental event, too. I mean, like, this track is so much fun. If you're at home and you've ever been out to GingerMan, you have great vantage points if you go up on Spectator Hill, and just generally, this is a massive track. So GLTC is going to have a lot of fun out there today. Drifting later is going to be really phenomenal to watch, too. But for now, I mean, it's a Lancer, dude. It's like a cult classic. You know, everybody loves it.
Well, and you talk about the Lancer being a cult classic. This is car culture just mashed together in 100%. One event. This is a sold-out event. I haven't heard the official number yet. I'm waiting on that. It is bigger than last year from what I've heard. So we'll get that official number here, but there are no more tickets being sold. It is a sold-out crowd. And you mentioned the drifting. We're going to do that a little bit later. NOS Energy Track Battle Championship is on track with us later this afternoon. But first up is qualifying. And with the rules this season, we won't get you lap times until later in the session because there is rewards weight and points available in this session. So we don't want anyone lagging back trying to avoid that rewards weight penalty. So they're going for it right now. There's Matt Waldbaum in the number 90.
Here we go.
And he got a win at Watkins Glen. Big slide there through turn number 2. That was a big moment. And this track in general is pretty challenging. And actually, this is probably a good opportunity now. If we can take a look at our Hyundai N track preview, this would be a really good opportunity to have a look at this 2.2-mile racetrack.
Ooh, fancy drone work there.
Great drone work, as always.
As always. And this is so much fun, too. So the one thing with, like, grip driving is that you're going to have the grip racers, and then you're going to get some rubber laid down. And that's going to make it a little bit more interesting.
Here's a look at the 2.2-mile GingerMan Raceway that all starts with a run down to turn number 1. Almost a 90-degree left. You can carry a lot of speed, clip that inside curb, swing out kind of mid-track before you get through turn number 2. Double apex right-hander up to turn 3. This apex goes forever. You have to just wait later and later and later. You accelerate out. It's a pretty long straightaway from turns 4 to 5, but that's a flat-out kink in a GLTC car. Dab on the brakes, down a gear, into turn 5, into turn 6. You're going to slow up a little bit between those two corners. The run up to 7, and then you enter this really challenging complex through 7, 8, and 9. Fast flowing. You're driving right out to the edge of the racetrack, Cerise. Then you tuck it in very tight, back to the right, and then back to the left for turn number 10. This is 10B. 10A is the unused portion. That is the old racetrack. This was added in 2005. very heavy braking zone, very short run to it, and then the power straight from turn 10B to turn 11. That's where the top speed happens.
Yeah, so from 6 to 10, we're going to be looking at a lot of action. That's going to be a little bit hairy, but I think these guys and ladies, they have this all figured out.
They do, and this is a track that's really familiar to them also. You see the festival grounds represented there. I'm proud of that one, Cerise.
Oh, I'm so excited for tonight, Kyle. You have no idea. This is, without a doubt, my favorite event of the year. I think it's everybody's favorite event. I'm not going to lie. But, yeah, no, this track has a special place in everybody's hearts, but, I mean, dude, the festival tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We had a look there at Jeremy Swenson, and we documented his season so far. He's won a handful of races. He leads the point standings, but something critical happened at Watkins Glen. Race number 4, it was raining. It was the invert race. Jeremy Swenson chose not to go on the racetrack. There was a very calculated risk. Every time you bring a car on the racetrack, Jeremy said, it's not worth it. Because if I crash this car now, my season might be over. Yeah. If I step out of this race right now, I will drive another event. And that just goes to show you that these drivers are so well prepared to make the decisions they need to make, and sometimes that's not racing.
But the reality of this, too, is like, don't forget, a lot of these people are doing all of these builds on their own budget. So taking that calculated measure and making sure that you have the right, season set up for, your goals, but also your budget is important. So these guys are doing this all by themselves. I remember I was talking to Jeremy at one of the events, I think South Carolina. I mean, he was here all by himself. These guys and these ladies, they show up and then they race, and this is what they love to do. So here we go.
So Jeremy Swenson across the line here, the number 3 car again. Got some great sounds with us this weekend, and a new camera shot over there at the exit at 10B. That's a great shot.
Spicy.
We have never had that shot over there before, so that's really cool to see as Jeremy now swings through turn number 1. Once more, because of the rules this season, we will not have lap times for you until a little bit later in the session, so bear with us on that. But Swenson now leaves turn number 2. He's going to pull over and let his competitors go on by, including Erica Till. And Cerise, you covered this at Watkins Glen.
I did.
It has been a tumultuous season.
That whole story, if you're watching at home and you have the opportunity, go on Instagram, follow Erica Till. He was down. He was down bad for a little bit, but he came back thanks to not only his team, but the community here. They really band together. That car right there did not look like that. I mean, a month ago, it was upside down in a ditch. And look at him. He's ripping. He's a great driver, and he's got so much support, and that's what we love to see.
Yeah, and again, for those that don't know, after the Circuit of the Americas event in Austin, Texas, driving back to Ohio overnight, driver of the tow rig, his father fell asleep behind the wheel. The truck and trailer completely destroyed. The car, like a phoenix rising out of the ashes. That thing was upside down in a ditch.
The only thing in that accident that survived.
Yeah, it was truly inspirational. The amount of support that you mentioned that he received from the community, from Ed, from DJ, from Tom, who set up the fundraiser to help him get the car back on the racetrack. Unbelievable.
And
then he went back and podiumed at Watkins Glen.
It was so cool. I mean, honestly, the comeback story, everybody loves it. Everybody either loves an underdog or a comeback story. But this is just a reminder, guys, like, it is exhausting going through these weekends. And these kinds of accidents, they do happen. But it's all about, the comeback. And like you said, rising like a phoenix.
Yeah, and the other thing people forget is sometimes the most dangerous part of the weekend is getting to and from the racetrack.
Absolutely.
Which is, not something you think about a whole lot in the context of a race weekend. It doesn't start on Friday. It starts on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when you get to the racetrack. He pulled over, let Luke McGrew on by.
These Corvettes are just so sick.
They are good. They were also the top 3 fastest cars in practice, Cerise, so they have some bark to their bite.
You don't say, Kyle. I'm shocked.
Yeah,
that's a great shot right there.
Yeah, they definitely have some bark to their bite. Luke, this season, has started 12 races, all 12 that we've run so far, has won 2 of them, 4 podiums, 5 top 5s, and 10 top 10s in 12 races.
Oh, all right.
What a great start.
That is a great start to this season. I mean, start strong, finish strong. I mean, that's the vibe.
And then behind them is Paul Curley, who has not started quite as many races. He bailed out of a couple at Watkins Glen, and he's got 10 starts on the season, won one race back at Carolina Motorsports Park in a drag race with Jeremy Swenson. But the consistency has been there for a lot of the Corvette crowd. But there's one driver, James Houghton in particular, who has really stepped up into the party in that number 41 Acura TSX. 12 starts, 3 wins, 6 podiums, 9 top 10s, and he has a secret this weekend. Maybe it's not much of a secret. I'm about to share it.
I love secrets.
GLTC is an engineering sport as much as it is a driving sport. We talk about the different aerodynamics that you can have on the cars. You can have a wing, you can have a spoiler, kind of a NASCAR-style duckbill. James basically made a CAD file of a rear spoiler and then cut vertical slots in the spoiler because the spoiler dimensions are done in square inches. So he cut slots in to reduce the square inches of the spoiler, but still keeps most of the aerodynamic effect of that spoiler. That, you see him pulling into the pits right there. That is really that's so much ingenuity at play and really creative.
Yes.
And people say, well, that's gray area. Absolutely. But that's what you have to do to be up at the front here in GLTC. I love it. And as he's rolling down pit lane here, we might get a good shot of this.
I was going to say, I want to see this.
Over the crest here. And they're probably really narrow, but you can see the slots cut in. But it's just a really neat thing.
People get so creative with these cars. I mean, like, there's so many different sections of racing and classes of racing. And in this class, it sounds like you just have so much freedom. And you can do trial and error and see if it works, and if it doesn't, and then if it doesn't,
well,
get back out there.
You know, of course, there's always the Corvettes have looked fast all season. They're driven very, very well. They're built to the limits of the rules. They have won the most races this season.
Oh,
but then,
he's getting us a shot.
but then you have drivers that'll say, oh, you know, the way to win GLTC is you get a sub-turbo or sub 2-liter turbo car. That car is the car to have. I'm like, well, that car is the car to have, and so is the Corvette. So that feels like a pretty good rule set to me, Cerise. You got some options.
That's fantastic. So if you're feeling like you want to do this at home, go for it.
Yeah, this is a row of cars. I think that's Eddie Nakato in the number 320 car, I believe. He was a transplant from CMP. He's joined us here. Jackson Jensen, his first time back. The youngster, call him Maverick because he is an IFR-rated pilot.
Incredible.
And he is joining us again for the first time since Circuit of the Americas. And right behind him, I think that's Tony Marchev in the number 17 S2000.
We love an S2000. There's lots of them out here too. I mean, they're just phenomenal cars. They're set up so well, and they perform really well in this style of racing. It's
a popular car for a lot of reasons. They're getting a little harder to find parts for, but that's why you've got the popular K24 swap and things. Not a lot of the original engine S2000s. You don't see a lot of F22 power plants left here. Yep. It's mostly K24, but there's so much support in the paddock as one car's off. I think that's one of the, I think that might be Jake Jorenstad, perhaps.
Yep.
In the Myriad Motorsports vehicle, and so he's pulled off course. Great work, by the way, if you have an issue to get well off track so we can keep the session green.
Absolutely. Just hearing you talk about this, I mean, like, that's the evolution of motorsports. I think that's one thing that kind of keeps a lot of us around is, like, this is how the sport has changed over the years, whether or not it's part availability, whether or not it's performance enhancements that you discover year over year, but, I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, and again, you see lots of popular chassis in this series between S2000s, the C5 and C6 Corvette. The FRS BRZ platform is getting more and more popular with engine swaps and things of the sort. Mazda MX-5s, obviously, those cars have been around for a long time. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of ways to skin the cat here in this series, and we continue to see. I think we've got 5 non-V8s in the top 10 and 5 V8s in the top 10 in terms of points.
Okay, so I love a V8.
It's working out pretty well. Well, and again, they're detuned V8s for those that aren't familiar, power to weight. So the V8 cars that make more power are carrying significantly more weight. I think Jeremy Swenson's car is about 3,300 pounds. Eric Cattill's is about 2,300 pounds.
Yes.
So there's a 800, 900 pound swing between those cars on occasion.
And that's a great opportunity to also tie in how you're going to get, winning weight right at the end?
Yeah, rewards weight.
Rewards weight. And so just having that added to it, it really does. It I don't know, levels the playing field.
Speaking of unique builds.
I love this thing so much. It makes me smile.
This is David Rudzinski with the Rudes Racing number 51. This is a K-Swap Chevy S10, so it's a Honda 4-cylinder power plant, and Days of Thunder breathing all over this thing.
I was going to say, and they are just as rowdy as the car looks. I mean, phenomenal race team. They show up to pretty much every Gridlife event, and they just have such great energy. It's so much fun. I mean, look at that. That's so fun.
And he was struggling with the gearing of this thing, trying to get it handling well. And you can still, this is not probably an ideal GLTC build.
Looks like a belly button.
But it does look like a belly button. It's probably not an ideal build, but it is a capable build that you could make into a competitive car. And I just love the choice that you have.
Yes.
You don't have to build a front-running S2000. Here's another example of a classic car.
I mean, like, listen, it's all about what brings you joy. You know, this is you do this for fun. There you go, God. This is such a good car. And they're right behind each other. Oh, it's such a good shot.
Integra A86, a Chevy S10 truck. I mean, all those things together. And again, as far as the makes and models, we've got an Acura TL this weekend, a handful of Subarus, which are, again, all-wheel drive cars, not super common in the class. We've got Houghton and an Acura TSX Porsche Cayman that Jason Saney has brought with us. Ben Morawski's 2010 Mini Cooper is with us here. Hopefully he won't spin out again this time.
Yeah. Sorry, Ben. We know you didn't spin out last time.
That was a Kyle oopsie at Watkins Glen.
Oh, the Acura TL. I'm just waiting for it to see it like bobbing and weaving through traffic. You know what I mean?
That is going to be the 313 car. Chandler Rowe will be piloting that car this weekend.
Right.
And in the background here, this white Integra sweeping on through past Rudzinski. That is the number 99 Acura Integra of Ronnie Vidoc. A new series, a new team to the series this year. He joined us at Lime Rock Park last year. completely facelifted the car. It looks like a factory Integra inside. It is so
Really?
gorgeous.
Super clean?
It's super clean.
Oh.
But he's had some teething issues with the car. They've worked on it, and I think he feels really confident. This might be his first time here this weekend, but it is ready to rip.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of excitement, too, for the drivers who haven't gotten to drive here. I mean, not only, like you mentioned, this is our 10th anniversary, 4th year for GLTC. It is just, I'm so thrilled that these drivers are here. The line for these cars was so long. If you guys caught it in the beginning of the live stream, I mean, truly, the entire pit lane, everybody showed up for this event.
Yeah, and again, this is a long qualifying session. Usually our sessions are 20 minutes. This one is going to be closer to 30, 35, just to give them all a chance to get a clean lap in. And one of the drivers I don't think we have seen yet is Sean Krebsbach in that, that Lancer, which is a critical car because it was top 5 in practice. So we know he's going to be competitive. And when he lays down a time on the board, I'm really curious to see in his first wheel-to-wheel racing weekend how he stacks up when we throw the green flag later today.
Again, calculated measures. You know, whether or not he's in the pits or not, I can't see. But you know, when he gets out there, it's gonna be a rowdy time.
Yeah, and you've seen some of the drivers went out right at the start of the session. Some are gonna go out a little bit later. We've got Ronnie and Eric that are kind of working together. They usually paddock together and share resources and things.
Yep.
But I like that they're using the middle of the session because everyone will bookend it with a lap at the start and a lap at the end to try to get clean track. But right in the middle, that's kind of the Goldilocks zone, probably. Yep. So that's what they're doing right now.
All you need is one good one.
That's all you need. And again, this is going to set our grid for race 1. Race 2, we're going to set off race 1 lap times. So the format, each race is set a different way. Race 3 is set by the race 2 finishing order. Race 4 is set by race 3 finishing order with a random invert of the top third of the field. So that will always bring in a little bit of chaos and confusion tomorrow.
GLTC is chaos and confusion.
It can be. It's controlled chaos normally.
It is. No, it really is. I mean, these folks are just so proficient, like you said. So
it is one of the lowest incident racing series in North America. Now, the challenge here is that this weekend everyone's really comfortable with the racetrack. And so as far as the incidents are concerned on all the tracks that we go to, this is one that we tend to get more boops and bruises and bangs on the cars than we typically do, just because everyone's really comfortable here.
Yeah.
But at Watkins Glen, I have to say, we had some incidents at Watkins Glen. All of them were drivers on their own. We did not have any people crashing each other.
Good.
In 4 races with 50 cars at Watkins Glen. I can't, to folks at home.
That is impressive.
I watch a lot of racing. I've never seen that happen before. You are going to crash cars in the rain in a 50-car field, and they did not.
Yeah. No,
Most impressive thing I've ever seen.
You were talking about Lime Rock, so we're going to be in August. We're going to be back at Lime Rock Park. We're going to be there for Circuit Legends. It's going to be a phenomenal time. Can't wait. That's my home track, so I'm biased. But they just had a race this last weekend. 15 crashes in the same spot. You know, we talked about the dangers of getting to and from the track, but it's either to and from the track or even in the paddock.
Yeah.
Here. I mean, like people, you know, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of fans. There's a lot of drivers, and a lot of confusion sometimes. So getting the chaos out the way definitely makes for a better weekend.
Yeah, I can't wait for Lime Rock again. The Circuit Legends event is great. Of course, we've got our Midwest Festival. This is our 10th year of Midwest Festival. It is a staple in the Gridlife community, but Circuit Legends is very quickly becoming a Gridlife staple, even though this will only be our 2nd year. We just signed a 3-year deal with Lime Rock at the tail end of last year.
I am so excited for that. Last year was the first time that Lime Rock ever had drifting on the full course. That was just, I mean, for me personally, I have a pretty crappy 36 drift missile, but I love that thing.
Yeah.
And just seeing the homies out there and having fun. I mean, that's what it's about.
There's that Acura TL. It's the silver car at the very
there
back of that shot. That's the number 313, Chandler Rowe, who has run GLTC before. It has been all the way since 2019, the first year of GLTC since he's competed, so he's being reinitiated. Here's our qualifying times up on the board. And look at Baton Rosenberg. That's P4. I think there's a little sorting issue there, so we'll get that sorted. But a 39.5 might be the fastest lap time, but if that ordering is correct, then Rosenberg, Catil, Hurdle reigns. But I have a feeling that there's some more above that. We'll get that sorted out for you shortly. Colton Wade heads off into the corner. That's the field's Auto Works number 18. And
that's a brand new car, too. I mean, last year, at the end of last season, that thing blew up.
Yeah.
And he went back and what does he have, a LS7, I think? Oh, sorry, Colton, don't quote me on that. But that thing is powerful. And we love an E46, also another cult classic.
Sean Krebsbach, by the way, you see on the bottom of the ticker, 50th place, so he has tripped the timing and scoring at least once, but I don't know if he's come back around again, so who knows where we're at there. As far as the ordering goes, obviously there's a little bit of a ordering problem. We'll get that sorted. But I can tell you that Matan Rosenberg at a 39.5. I don't know if that's actually pole, but it's very close to it. The best lap times we've seen in the past are, I think, mid-38s. Okay. And it's a little warm and toasty. The track gets greasy when it gets hot, Cerise, so it gets a little harder to make those times.
Tires gonna be a little bit more slick, too.
Man, that V8 and that M3 sounds really good. This is an engine swap car now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I mean, dude, I just fucking love E46. The body lines, man. They're
it makes great noises.
Best car.
There's Matt Waldbaum returning to the track right behind Colton Wade, but there is that car. I will say, this car is gorgeous. I do miss the Miller livery it had on it last year.
It was nice. What was it, gold, right?
It was gold. And it was actually 3 layers of vinyl wrap to produce that effect. There was a base layer, and then a clear metallic, or a clear flake, and then there was a clear layer on top of that to make that effect. It was really cool.
The thought that goes into these things. I mean, you just wouldn't even look at that and think that there was 3 layers of vinyl. You know, I got to rewrap my car. Maybe I can get some.
Yeah.
I don't want to unwrap that thing.
Or you could just have a cool paint color like hot lava.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Here we go, ASM. I mean, these guys are awesome. We love ASM. Their team always pits together, and they always help each other out. Tom O'Gorman is not racing this year, but he is still very active, and he's out there with his teammates and making sure that they have everything that they need to succeed.
Yeah, and Matt Waldbaum coming off his first win of the season back at race 3 at Watkins Glen. It came in pretty spectacular fashion, passing James Houghton on the outside of a very wet turn 8 at the Glen on the last lap of that race. So that was a fun race to watch, but as far as points go, he's got 47 season points to Swenson's 63. So he's in chase mode, but right behind Luke McGrew and James Houghton. So he is definitely on it. And this weekend, he should be a threat. And as far as qualifying goes, if he's not up at the front by the end of this, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, listen, you put a driver who's hungry back into a corner, they're gonna act a certain way. So.
And we chatted about the S2000. I think some of the best sorted S2000s come from that ASM camp.
They're very well built. Andy Smedegard, I mean, he's the man that puts it all together. But I had an interview with him last year, and I said, Andy, like, tell me about how many of your cars are. He's like, no. Like, he is very adamant about making it known that like this is very much a team. While he's a great guy, I mean, every single one of these individuals plays their role. Yeah, and you can hear that K24 screaming. They did something. I think they put a different head on it right before Watkins Glen to hopefully get some more straightaway speed out of it. This is not a track where that's going to pay off necessarily. It's not going to hurt him, but I think when we get to tracks with more straightaway like Mid-Ohio and specifically Road America coming up on our calendar in a couple of months, that's where that extra investment in the engine is going to help. Again, we detune cars here in the series. If you're over power to weight, you got to detune back, but you're going to gain a flat power curve, and that's what everyone's trying to get to maximize their acceleration. Because when you're locked in by power to weight, we're by peak power, not by average power. So you're going to really try to make your peak power as low as you can and carry that all across the rev range. And that was something that these cars didn't quite do, so they had to get it sorted. So we're going to throw these times back up on the board, and as far as we can tell, that looks correct. Luke McGrew right up on top, Rosenberg, Houghton. The positions might not look correct, but I think that's the right order, so we'll roll with that for now. The one car I don't see on there is Jeremy Swenson, so that has me a little suspect. All right.
But for now, we can assume that this is reasonably close. And look at Waldbaum right up there in the top 5.
These are some names that we've seen all season. I mean, like, it really is incredible also just to see how people jump up event to event. Now, when we were in Topeka, Kansas at the end of last year, we know that the Corvette setup is perfect for that track. Now, knowing GingerMan as well as you do, what cars do you think are really going to be the most successful here? What would be your assumption?
Well, if you look at the, Greg would call this the horses for courses approach. And there's a lot of tracks you could point at that are Corvette tracks or V8 tracks, right? And this is not one of them. And here's why. This track doesn't have enough straightaway to really use your top end.
Mm-hmm.
It also
that 6 to 10 zone is really swirly. I mean, for those kinds of cars, correct?
It is, but you don't have a lot of really slow corners where they call them digs when you're kind of accelerating out of hairpins and things of the sort. The one advantage those cars do have is here you'll only really be touching 3rd and 4th gear in those cars, where some of the lighter cars might be 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe. So that's something to consider is the shift points. But I think having a lighter weight car, a more nimble car, something like Eric Cattill's got, I think that's really the ideal build here this weekend. It might not show up in qualifying, but if you can get in front on those wild early moments in the race, I think you're going to be able to drive away as everyone's scrapping. And with the hot track temps this weekend, tire temperatures are going to be soaring after a couple of laps.
Yep, no, those tire warmers are not going to be needed. Listen, all I want to say is I would pay money to see like a drag race between one of these drones and one of these Corvettes. Because just notice, these drones are keeping up with these cars. Like, the cars are cool, but like, listen.
There's a shot, I think from 2020, I want to say, maybe it was 2019, where they tracked the cars all the way from turn 1 all the way to turn 5, and they followed the racing line.
Yeah.
And it was just an unbelievable shot. And you can make pretty good. This is not one of our faster tracks, so a drone can make pretty good pace around here. Again, top speeds are going to see 115, 120 maybe.
Let's get them on the board.
So let's
go.
Let's tack her up, Buttercup.
Alrighty, here we go.
Right behind Matt Waldbaum is Adam Wood, who is all the way from New Mexico here this weekend in his Subaru Impreza.
He's used to the heat. Honestly,
heat.
that's something to be said. Knowing where these guys are come from, that just what kind of climate they're used to, and how they're going to set their cars up based upon that. I think it does play into effect here.
So here he comes out of turn number 11 and heads back to the stripe and across the timing and scoring loop. And off in the distance, you can see the campers that are still piling in here. So he's sold out crowd.
Dude, and let me tell you, the vibes, I'm going to keep using that word because it is just, it's the theme. Like, it's the theme of Gridlife. It's good vibes, good times, having fun. People are out there, they're going to party tonight. But for now, they're out here watching some phenomenal racing. I mean, this is literally, if you like motorsports, if you like music, if you like having a good time, this is the event. And
this, right now, I don't know, the fans that don't know what GLTC is, the people that are here just for the festival that haven't seen a green flag in this series yet, oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
When the green flag drops at around 4 o'clock today, which is really only an hour and a half from now, they are going to see something like they've never seen before. It is wild. It is chaos. There's dirt and dust flying everywhere. Cones are getting punted. It's a great time.
Yeah, no, true. And if you get a chance to get any ride-alongs, I mean, being able to see people all lined up on the fence is staggering.
Yeah.
They come in drones. And like you said, people are still coming in for camping. Look
at that shot.
Oh,
gorgeous shot.
That looks like those block games where you got to move one over to fit it in, and then,
This is an unbelievable
Look at those trailers.
Angle.
Those trailers are so expensive.
Well, over the years, we're 10
guys.
years in to this this festival, and we have packed more cars in here to an extent, but the last couple years, it's not more cars, it's just the drivers are getting bigger and bigger rigs.
Yeah,
and they're rolling in with huge campers, and they've figured out how to grid life.
If you go to festivals or if you go camping, it's like every time you do it, you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that again, or next time I'm definitely going to have that thing with me. So I think that's what it is. It's just stress testing every single time you come to a new event. So yeah, you're right. These rigs are impressive. We got Fun Haver right to the right of us over here, and their activation is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Hyundai's got an enormous activation, and for the fans at the racetrack, the Advanced Auto Parts Pit Stop is a place where you can chill out in the shade and watch the live stream. This is the entry point into the festival, and that is the line of people waiting to roll in here.
Mowed that grass. Sorry, you're all thinking.
No, it's
look
impressive.
At them, and look, it goes all the way out to the street.
Wow.
That is par for the course here at GingerMan Raceway. And let me tell you, so about this lineup, last night was Thursday, and this is when everybody got to come through and they got to do registration. Wednesday night, the drivers were in a Walmart parking lot to do check-ins so that they wouldn't jam up the whole lineup and the gates here, which is incredibly smart. Also talk about stress testing. So we have the FCP Euro banner there. Listen, I'm biased, guys. I'm with FCP Euro. We love them. Tonight we're actually going to do a sundown get down. So it's going to be a whole social thing at the FCP Euro booth. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're doing it with Racing Pride. So we're really, really excited to party with them tonight.
Yeah, so excited. By the way, the lap times, I have confirmed that they are correct. Obviously, the position numbers are not, but the times are right. So that means that Luke McGrew is currently on provisional pole. We still have a couple minutes remaining here in the session. That puts Matan Rosenberg, James Houghton, Matt Waldbaum, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Andrew Rains, Ronnie Vidoc, Morrison, Zach Lavoie, and Colton Wade in 10th. Now, Sean Krebsbach, 14th place in that Evo. And where is Jeremy Swenson? I have not seen where. Oh, down. I have him down in 50th, not timed. So we did see him go out. So that might be a transponder issue.
I was going to say maybe that's a technical issue there.
But look at we've backed up Phoenix Road.
Jeez, guys, and this is here we are at GingerMan. It's such a cute little Michigan town. I don't know if the locals love it or hate it, but I'm going to say that they love it. I hope that they actually. I was talking to a gentleman last night. He said he moved to this town for GingerMan Raceway, and he was stoked last night. I saw him right outside of the restrooms, and he's like, "Oh, I'm having the best time." It's Thursday night, sir.
Fiona Lou's back, by the way. She had a real big crash at Watkins Glen. Unfortunately, in one of the last races of the weekend, was avoiding an incident and ended up hitting the Armco at Watkins Glen in the rain. But through the power of a great shop, they put this car back together.
Yep.
And Fiona Lou is back on the racetrack in Pica, and it's got some mismatched colors and fenders. She just got those repainted last year, which is a bummer. But
yeah,
it's running and rolling. And
but her attitude is phenomenal.
Never quit.
Every time I've ever talked to her, she's been very positive, very positive driver.
Yep.
And dude, when you have a livery of Pikachu on the side, how are you going to be mad?
You can't be.
You can't be. You're out here having a great time.
And P17 is what I have for her right now, so that's a pretty impressive drive.
Phenomenal.
All things considered. But
let's go, ladies.
Awesome stuff. And there's a look at that Hyundai N activation. Of course, FCP Euro's got a real good activation there as well. There's a lot of cars under that tent that we're going to see on track this weekend, which is exciting.
I wish you could see them. So FCP Euro, we have the Scheffler 190E, which is really awesome. Scheffler and Hanks. We have this really sick Volvo that's going to be out there at some point later, and we have, like you said, Ben Morawski's Mini. So
yeah,
Ben Morawski's also my boss.
Where did he end up on the qualifying? I didn't get a chance to see him. Ben Morawski, where are you?
Where are you, bud?
Oh, he's somewhere on this list. I couldn't find him, but I'm sure he's out there.
Well,
I see him, 27th.
Here we go.
All right. Anyway, just to the right of this,
see him in the pits there too.
Look, there's TJ Hunt's.
Gray Anderson, TJ Hunt, they're coming through.
But just to the right of this is that Advanced Auto Parts pit stop again, which is a place where you can hang out, watch the live stream all weekend long. It's a pretty cool spot. They got Dustin Williams over there, right there under that yellow tent, right before you get to all the vendors and things.
Stephanie drifts pink, S13, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And car is awesome. She's done a phenomenal job. If anybody doesn't know, Stephanie Drifts built that thing by hand, all herself. She's figuring it out. Yeah, merch tents over there for people to get their merch. And again, a big thanks also to the people on the ops team and Sean, who puts a lot of effort into getting this working right. Yep. It's a lot of effort to get that rolling. And big thanks to Advance for helping us out and providing an awesome experience here for the race fans this weekend. GLTC qualifying's done, Cerise. So with that, Luke McGrew on provisional pole, Matan Rosenberg, Houghton Walbaum, and Eric Catil, your top 5. They will go racing at 4 o'clock. All right, and when they come back, I'll grab some interviews with them when we're done. I think that actually is that 4. Hold on. Before we leave, I want to make sure that time was right. It is 4 o'clock. Yes, but it might be a little bit. We're a little delayed now, so we'll see how it pans out. But Drift is up next. We're going to step away for a few minutes. We'll be back with Drift coverage here in just a few. Kyle Heyer with Cerise from FCP Euro. We'll be right back. Thanks, guys.
Born on the track, bred on the mountains, raised on the podium, ready for anything and everything. Falcon Tires. Race tested, road ready. Learn more about our entire line at falcontire.com.
Owning a car can be expensive. It can also be confusing. What? And when things don't go right, there's no doubt it could be frustrating. But it can also be a lot of fun. And for those reasons, FCP Euro exists. Check this out. Do you and your car a favor and head over to fcpro.com to learn more.
Did you energize yet today? Time to nos up. Get after it.
Hi, I'm Chris Forsberg, and when it comes to classics and high-performance cars, I only trust America's #1 racing oil, Valvoline VR1. It's built on Valvoline's long legacy in racing, so I can continue to build my own. With 2 times more zinc than the industry standard, VR1's high-performance formula is tested on the track and trusted on the road to ensure your engine is protected from metal-to-metal contact. And I use it so much, I haven't got my car on the bottle. That's why whether I'm racing or cruising, I protect everything I drive with Valvoline. Valvoline, trusted for over 150 years.